and welcome to School of Addiction. Today's episode is why the why matters in recovery. My name is Ashley Bloxham. I'm a therapist. I specialise in childhood and trauma, but I'm also an addictions counsellor. I've overcame addiction, and I also know what it's like to have loved ones who are struggling in addiction, and I've studied it right the way up to PhD level, so I really do understand it. So today we're going to be talking about why the why matters in addiction recovery and why shame can keep you stuck. So one of the things that I got asked in on one of my comments is around shame and how do you break it down. Shame is such a big feeling that is a common thread for people struggling in addiction recovery. We feel shame. Even people who've been recovered for years might still feel shame around what happened during their addiction. And it's, as a society, we tend to shame people for having addiction. And I experienced this firsthand. It's really painful. So we're shaming ourselves. So society is shaming us. Sometimes individual people are shaming us because it's really misunderstood of why addiction occurs in the first place. So it's really helpful to look at the why. So if you look at why addiction occurs on a broad perspective, like why it happens amongst normal people, you can then see where you fit into it. So common threads that's shown as research time and time again is the mental health disorders. So ADHD, especially if undiagnosed and untreated. So ADHD, autism, BPD, PTSD, or bipolar, all these different things are more likely to cause you to have addiction because you're self-medicating. Trauma, especially repeated trauma as child, so childhood trauma makes you a lot more susceptible. If you are highly sensitive and highly intelligent as a child, and then you have a bit of instability at home, also more likely to have an addiction. If you were feeling inferior and then context matters, so maybe all your friends were getting wrecked all the time and you lacked confidence, so then when you went into this group it gave you confidence. So there's so many different reasons why, and it's worth working out which reason applies to you, because the reason that does not apply to you and will not apply to you is because you are a bad person, because you are doing it intentionally, because you don't give a fuck about how you're upsetting other people, because you are an immoral person. These are not reasons why you have addiction. So find out the real reason. Because when you come to recovery, you're going to be fighting the addiction. You're going to be fighting rewiring your brain. You do not want to be fighting shame as well. So you can start working on the why and giving yourself a bit of grace, cutting yourself some slack before you stop if you want to, but certainly at any point after, and it will help your recovery much better, because shame really does keep us stuck. Let's see what people are saying. Cora, hello ma'am, hi, how are you doing? Sean is saying, you're keeping me sober. Since 2 years I have a mental health as well, but listening to you helps me, so thanks. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Sean. Mental health is such a driving force for addiction, it really is. Because it soothes you. This is the thing, addiction soothes you. I mean, I've been going through a really difficult situation, not mental health, but I've been going through a difficult situation the last couple of weeks, and I've also quit vaping. And every time I feel shit from this situation, the first thing I want to do is reach for my vape, because it just soothes, the nervous system. And, that's the same. I remember when I came out of my drug addiction, I was going through quite some difficult things, like my relationship of 10 years with my father of my child broke down. First thing I wanted to do, go for the addiction. It soothes you. So yeah, it's really hard when you've got mental health and you've had an addiction as a crutch, or any kind of adversity that you're facing, whether it's long-term or short-term. No, I didn't pump, Stacy. I would just own it. Cora, I have a meeting later today with you. Oh, brilliant. I've got a few meetings. I got Calendly because I was like, really, I've got ADHD. So I don't know if anybody's got ADHD watching it, but I was getting emails and I was getting so overwhelmed because I was having to like dish out certain times and couldn't like quite get it right. So I was like having to give the same time to a few people, and it was overwhelming us. So I went for Calendly and it's filled up. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it though, Cora. So you're saying you're feeling a bit nervous and anxious because it'll be my first ever therapy counselling. Well, it's not counselling for a start. I am a therapist and a counsellor, same difference. But it's not therapy that I'm doing. It's just going to be me and you just sitting there talking about, right, what's went on, and let's get a plan moving forward. It's going to be so chilled. Like, really don't worry about it. I know that's easy for me to say, not so easy for you to do. I remember like being a therapist, and then I went to therapy my first time. For my first time, and I was sitting in the other seat, and I was like, fucking hell, I've not had enough empathy for how it feels sitting in front of a therapist. But this isn't therapy. It's going to be super chill. Just think about, I'm just phoning up a mate and we're just going to hash this out together kind of vibes. And also, Cora, like, you need to remember there's zero judgment. I've been where you are, and you don't need to start this. Just because you're going having the session today doesn't mean you need to start today. This is just like finding your feet. So don't put any pressure on. There's a certain outcome that you need. Stacy, couldn't wait till off cam to fart. Like when you're on a date with somebody, you just like, sort of stay the night, can you please go home? I haven't had me morning pump. Like, you're nice, but off you fuck. Guy, hi, if anyone wants support from Ashley, please go to our website, School of Addiction, or comment on our videos. Thank you, Guy. How you doing? Morning, Guy. I just saw you. Morning, Ashley. GF, I'm from Beskasan. Oh my god, I'm so dyslexic, and that is a lot of letters that are put together that I'm not used to saying. So I am so sorry that I did not say that right. From some place that I'm not from. Erico, Germany. Hello to Germany. I'm from England, if you didn't know that. It might sound similar to the US or Australia. Hello, I'm the purple guy. David, morning, how's it going? It's going well, David. How's it going for you? No, that's a good girl, only in front of you, not others, Starsky. Darren fucking hell. Oh, fucking hell. We've got a fucking, not a fucking hell. Jeez is saying, are you an ex-addict? Yes, I am. Yes. Just hit my 4 years sober last week. Well, clean. I don't know why I say sober. 4 years clean off ketamine. Pretty much clean off. I mean, I'm pretty much teetotal at this point. Coffee's the only thing that I'm clinging on to for dear life. Long may it continue. Like, at this point, I'm just like, I'm gonna accept one negative thing of my life. Mister, how are you getting on? I'm getting on good. I've had a good rough few weeks, but I always think, like, I try and think when you're having a rough few weeks, it's a good time to practice skills. So I've been like practicing me regulate my nervous system, put my money where my mouth is, all the stuff that I talk about on the channel. It's been helping though, so it's made us feel less like a bit of imposter syndrome. Because I feel like sometimes as well, when I'm talking about addiction recovery, I'm talking, because it was like 4 years ago when I gave up ketamine, I'm like, kind of like saying it, but I'm sometimes getting imposter syndrome. But I've been quitting vaping and also a breakup. So a breakup is it's exactly the same process that we go through, and I'm like, from a neuroscientific standpoint, is of quitting addiction. So it's been like a double addiction whammy on my brain, and everything I've been saying has been working. So I'm like, okay, don't have to sit in imposter syndrome anymore. Raymond, you are royalty, thank you. A little queen bee over here. Right, Cora, I thought therapy and counselling are the same thing. What's the difference? It is the same thing. There's no difference. It's just different. I don't know if like one's a US term, one's a UK term, but obviously I've trained in the UK. And I don't know if it's just different books call it different things. But I remember asking that same question like in my first week, and my trainer said it's exactly the same. Jesus saying, what ketamine was like, why did you like it or get addicted to it? Yeah, I think it's always really important to ask yourself like why that specific addiction, because there's certain like benefits from each addiction, and we need to look at what those benefits are, I think, to kind of understand what was going on, and then we can try and get the same benefits from something that's like more well-rounded, beneficial, not like carnage. And because like ketamine beneficial there is, but also very unbeneficial. Like there was a lot of like downsides. So for me, it was a sedative. Now, my brain, I didn't know at the time that I had ADHD, bipolar, autism. I've also been diagnosed with dyslexia, but I feel like that's like the least of my worries, to be honest. Um, so like my brain runs super fast. I think in webs instead of like just linear thinking. So it's just constantly like firing and wiring and just overthinking. So with ketamine, it's a sedative. They use it for babies to sedate them, to do surgery and stuff like that. And obviously we've heard about horse tranquilizer, like vets use it. So it was just sedating my brain. And that was really nice. The other thing is I felt really spiritual on it. So I felt like I was having like lots of spiritual experiences. So again, like learning to calm my brain a little bit. I actually struggled to do that. That was my first thing that I tried to do was calm my brain. Realised that was a bit of a struggle. So tried to then make my brain a nicer thing to be around. Like my thoughts, to try to make them like more comfortable. And yeah, just calm my nervous system. And then also found like spiritual outlets. John is saying, congratulations, keep it up, thank you. There ain't fucking no way I am not keeping it up, trust me. What a sad life I was living. It was horrible, really horrible. Half a person, it turned us into a half-wit. Like I was just like so deranged and mongy, and it just wasn't... Yeah, it just wasn't nice. And the shame, the self-loathing which came with it. And I was just walking around like a walking, talking moron. I mean, I literally had no clue what was going on, really. Thank you, Raymond, I think. Thanks, G's. Right, Tin Man, how did you get sober? I just got out of rehab about 10 days ago. I'm amazing that you just got out of rehab. I love that for you. I imagine this is going to be where the work starts for your Tin Man, because the truth of the matter is, and I don't want to say this to be a dick, but just to be realistic and then give you a plan forward, is a really high percentage of people relapse after they come out of rehab. And there's a few different things of reasons why. So first of all, rehab is like a big safe bubble. Everybody there is all in recovery, so everyone wants to recover. So, you know, there's research around the people we hang around with, like the people we spend our time with, or that we're going to tend to gravitate towards the same mindsets and the same activities. So you've just removed yourself from that. So it's really important, Tin Man, that you're very intentional around the people you hang around. So this is where groups are really good, and to be really mindful of the circles you're hanging around in. So, you know, going and hanging around with like all the same people who just you used to get wrecked with, I'd imagine probably isn't a good idea. And that's something that I had to face, but that's something for you to look at. Second of all, the thing with when you're coming out of rehab is you've got to keep up the work. So it's like one day at a time, being proactive. So keep working on yourself, Tin Man. It's not like I've came out of rehab, I've removed the addiction, now everything's great. Keep working at yourself, because I imagine you felt great because you're doing all that inner work. So keep trying to do that and make a daily commitment to that. That's your new addiction, like self-love and just pouring into yourself. Self-love, it sounds really lame. But yeah, for me, to answer your question, so how did I get sober? I got sober before I got sober. I started to learn to love myself. I started to understand myself, like why do I have my addiction? I tried my best just to regulate my nervous system, like learning to like just do little regulatory activities, because like cravings are huge, like fight or flight. So like try to like calm myself in fight or flight. I was open and honest with people about where I was at, so I had some accountability. And for me, one thing that was really helpful is I ordered loads of drugs tested off Amazon, and I really trusted my dad. My dad was being really supportive with this, so I asked my dad if I could FaceTime him every 3 days and do a drugs test, because that was in my head that I'm going to have to do that drugs test. It was a bit of accountability. But you can have a breathalyzer, if it's alcohol, if it's other things, you know, that's not so easy, but yeah. But yeah, has anyone got any tips for people like them early days, so in day 10 out of rehab, like what can Tin Man do to like to make sure that the recovery lasts? Because you've got to be intentional with your recovery. I think that's the main thing. Try and be intentional with it so that you're in that 25% of people who smash it and continue to smash it, compared to the other part, which I think just goes straight back into the old life and then fall off the wagon. Right. Bear, I have a crush on you. Sorry to make it weird. It's okay. Maybe don't say it, then it won't be weird. I'm only joking. But yeah. We're here to help with recovery, guys. So addiction and therapy questions would be helpful. Can I buy you a fish sandwich? I am vegetarian, so I'd prefer you not to. Although I used to like a fillet of fish before I was a vegetarian. Raymond, I love your hair like that. Thank you. It's my natural hair. I'm trying to embrace my natural hair. Oh, and I've also dyed it. I've just realised I've tried to dye. I had grown my dye out, so I've tried to match it to the top, like my natural colour. So thanks. Stan is saying something less destructive. Do you worship the devil? No, I don't. Although I do like the song, the Rolling Stones song, "Sympathy for the Devil." I feel like the devil or like negative stuff, I think it's all you can't have the good without the bad. So I don't fully believe in like the devil is bad. I feel like the bad stuff always leads us to the better stuff. Nobody's perfect. The why I got off was seriously having a word with myself, but also disassociate myself with people which didn't want to get off them. It's not easy, but if you want this, that's one of the big ones. Yeah, I was just trying to say that it's so important to like take stock of who you're around. Walking, talking triggers are the worst. Like they are the worst, and we might think that we love these people and it's our best friends, or we might feel lonely. But do you know what else feels really incredibly lonely? Being an addict. Even if you're surrounded by other people who are struggling in addiction, you feel lonely, you feel disconnected from society, disconnected from yourself. It's very lonely. Even if you've got other people who are mongy round next to you, let's be real, that like so yeah, I think that is a big one. Like there's some friendships, like I did manage to turn one friendship into a friendship where we only saw each other to do yoga and to do like go to the pictures and stuff like that. So we reframed the friendship. We went and did tarot reading together and stuff like little do you know what I mean? Like redefine the friendship. So that might be an option, but that takes very clear boundaries. And you know, I tried to do that with another friendship and they just brought ketamine in my house and I had a lapse. Which was really shit because it was like in my house, yeah. Cora, I feel 2011 and to 2016 was much better. I was younger. We used to use our mother's phone to play games. Puberty and not hit still. After that, things changed a lot for me in forms of stress, studies, etc. Cora, did you say your ringing is today? As we'll hash all of this out. Yeah, I think it's really hard when we go through a transition, and it sounds like life was simpler. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save this for our one-to-one, because I'm gonna be speaking to you later on, and we'll talk about it properly instead of us trying to kind of guess what's going on or and fill in the blanks. It'd be better if we can talk about it a little bit more. But yeah, we'll absolutely talk about that and like how to manage stress, and especially with studies, you know. I've studied a lot and it is really stressful. So it's about then redirect it, like it's about getting your butterflies in a row, so to speak, and like reframing stress. Geez, how do you think it would affect you if you were to get hooked on ketamine again? I wouldn't. I mean, I would never say never. Like the way I would get hooked on ketamine again is if my whole life got flipped upside down. Like say for instance, say say for instance something happened and they took my child away from us and I got jailed or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like say for instance like something dodgy happened, like this conspiracy, and I got sent to jail and I lost my child and my friends and the people who I love. I think then I would definitely turn to ketamine. If for some reason I ended on the streets, I would 100% turn to drugs. And look, it wasn't just ketamine. Ketamine was my addiction. I used to like all drugs. But it would take me losing my life that I've built up to go back to ketamine, because that's the thing for me. My recovery is not just been removing the addiction, it's been like building up a life that I fucking love. Like even like I've been talking about, like I've went through a breakup, because I try to be open and honest with people on my channel and relate to people. So I've went through a breakup, it's fucking shit, but I've also got like everything around us is still in place. I've still got my hobbies and interests. I've still got the people who I love. I've still got my son. I've still got my beautiful home that I've like poured my heart and soul into making lush and doing a little bit of DIY around it. So it would take all of the, like my whole life being flipped upside down and left with nothing. And to be honest, if I did go back to drugs, I'll just embrace them with open arms, because let's be real, like drugs are a relief. Like drugs are enjoyable. It's an enjoyable relief. And it's an enjoyable relief when your life is shit and you hate yourself. So, yeah. Let's see what else people are saying. I've just lost my place. I'm trying to go down in chronological order. Oh God, I can't find it now. Right, I'm just going to go somewhere in the middle. Jack is saying, I gave up sessioning and drinking over a year ago. I've been back in the gym 12 weeks and I can't live my life without exercise. Yeah, it's so good for you. It really is. I went through a stage where I was like cycling in and out of episodes, and I had like the school holidays, and I'm a single parent, and then I had a kidney infection and I didn't go to the gym. I didn't train for like, honestly, about 4 months, and it just really affected us. And as soon as I started getting back into it, I just felt like my energy increased. I felt much better about myself. It's so good for your exercise. I do get there's some people who can't, like if they've got certain conditions, can't, but any kind of activity is really good for you. It's all relative. So whatever you can do, it's really good for you if you can. And if you can do something, like I bang on about this all the time, but if you can do something where you have to learn, so like I do martial arts, if you have to learn and do exercise, so physical activity and mental activity together, there's a lot of research that shows that actually makes you, it makes you neuroplasticity, like it makes you more neuroplastic. So it makes it better to change like your behaviors and stuff. So in addiction recovery, if you can do something like martial arts, or even something like learning a new sport like squash, or just anything that you've not done before, you've got to learn and do something physical, you're gonna make it much better. Like you're rewiring your brain. So when you're doing like you're regulating your nervous system, getting over cravings, learning to love yourself, because your neuroplasticity is going to be more malleable, it's going to sink in a lot better. So like that is really good for addiction recovery. But it might also be that you do something where you're learning, so you're learning a new skill and you're doing physical activity. Right, supporting my friend at the moment with his long-term drinking problem. He ends up in hospital every 3 to 6 months, but he won't change the people that he hangs around with. That must be so hard, Jack. Do you know what's really good, which might be helpful for you? There's something called SMART meetings. So SMART, and it's a type of, it's a type of meeting that you do for addiction recovery. So if I'm in addiction, I would do SMART. I got trained in SMART. But there's also SMART for friends and family of loved ones. And it might be, if you're doing that, it's a group, and it'll give you like strategies and techniques to help you help your friend. And the main premise of it though is learning to support yourself, because like realistically it's like putting your own oxygen mask on. Like if you're so worried about your friend and you're not pouring into yourself, like you're going to struggle to be there for your friend. So it's really about doubling down on self-care and just remembering that, like, unfortunately there's nothing that you can really do, Jack, to help your friend. And you know, that's a harsh truth that I've had to face with people who I deeply love, who are struggling with addiction. Like, even though I'm an addictions therapist, even though I've overcame it, like, I cannot help people stop who don't want to stop, because it's too big of a fight. And especially like alcohol, like it's a huge addiction. And you know, they've probably got some huge reasons why they're in got the addiction in the first place, and no amount of love or encouragement is gonna, which is external, is gonna help that person stop. So it is all about supporting yourself and making sure that, like, you're able to support them in whatever way that is, by not enabling and boundaries, and then just like big yourself up enough so that you're there waiting for them at the finish line. Carl is saying should install breathalyzers in cars. David is saying keep yourself busy. Yeah, keep yourself busy is a big one. It really is. Idle hands. And this is the thing, like, I think, oh sorry, I had some idiot on my channel last week, who's like some kind of addictions worker, who was trying to say like, oh, you should be allowed to be around triggers in the beginning and stuff like that. And no, like the beginner bit's brutal, distractions, and keep triggers as far away as possible and just get through that initial part, I would say. Jack, it's so sad that you can't see how life could be so different. I've changed my life. I have a house, a nice car, 3 years son, and a supportive partner. And look, Jack, it is so sad. It really is. And like, honestly, my heart bleeds for anyone in addiction, and the people who in my life who are struggling in addiction. I love them so much, and I feel the same. Like, I wish, you know, because there's such lovely people not under the influence. Let's be real, alcohol does produce some fucking arseholes. Not everyone who's an addict, but like for some people. But it is so sad, because especially when you've came out of it, you're like, oh my God, like, do you know what's on the other side of this? But the fact that you're saying it's so sad that you can't see how life